Decided in this vlog that I want to finish at least one of the books that I've been like just, I don't know, holding off on, whatever you want to call it, for the longest because of the length. I've been reading Demon's Dream and y'all, I literally can't even think of the name because it's been so long that I've been reading it. Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh, and they're so thick. They've just been so daunting to me. But in this video, I want to finish them. Just like ditch my phone and really like get into it. I've been reading Demon's Dream on my Kindle Scribe, and it has been helping me read a lot faster. I before was just reading like on a physical book, and I literally could not even get through it just because like this book is like 700 and something pages. But I'm pretty far. I'm like 67% into it. And this book is really, really good. That's not like why I haven't been picking it up. It's just so long. There are 750 pages in this book, and I think that this is the longest book that I've ever read. But again, I will say it is really easy to read. I feel like I have been getting through it really fast now that I've actually been reading it, but I want to finish it in this video because do you ever get to the point in a book where you're just like, I don't care how good it is, how not good it is, like I'm ready to read another book, but I feel like because this book's so thick, like I don't want to pick up another book because you guys know from the last video I was reading like 5 books at a time, and now I'm down to like the 2 thickest ones. I feel like if I start more books, I'm just gonna continue to read those other books and not like read this one because it's so daunting. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. Please let me know if anyone else is like this. I just got to a part of the book that is so funny to me. Now, I haven't really like shared a ton of my thoughts on this book because obviously I've been reading it but not like vlogging it. I vlogged it on like a few vlogs, but I haven't really talked about it because I knew I was gonna make like a full vlog like talking more about it. But this book is wild. So there are multiple characters in this book. There's Dream, her sister Yana, that's not like her full name, but that's like her nickname. There's Smoke, that's also his nickname, and then there's Demon, and that's also his nickname. So there's 2 guy characters and 2 female characters that are like the main characters of this book. And that's honestly why I think that this book is actually interesting and not boring, because like you go through so many different points of view, but like they feel like the main character when you're in their point of view, versus like a lot of other books. I feel like there's one person who's the main character and then everyone else is kind of a side character to the main character, if that makes sense. Like all 4 of these characters have their own world, lives, like everything. And it's sad, honestly, that this book isn't a series, but I see now why it's 750 pages, because like it could be multiple books, just like instead of consolidating all of their stories into one. But I'm really loving it. Like I feel like this book's gonna be 4 stars. Like I'm pretty sure that that's what I'll rate it, unless it gets like wilder as it goes on, and I can definitely see it getting like more and more wild. So if you like dark romance but you don't really care for like the wildly like spicy parts of it, but you kind of like the thrill, the like, you know, maybe they're like taking someone out, like if you like that, I feel like you'll really like this. There are spicy parts for sure in this book, but I feel like the book cover is almost a little deceiving, because have you ever read like a spicy book that's like there's multiple chapters, like full on of like straight spice? I think I thought that this is what that book, like I thought that this book would be like that. I thought that there would be like multiple full-on chapters of just straight spice. And it's not. Man, I wish I brought some water. I have like a little tickle in my throat. And it's not like that. And I'm really enjoying that. There are definitely super spicy parts, but it'll be like 3 pages, 4 pages like max. And I'm really loving it. But there's a section. I'm screaming. There's a section, and it's on 5/13. And Demon is like the type who like, he's not going on dates. He's not like doing that kind of stuff. Like he's just like very serious, you know? Like he's very much the I'll take you out if you mess with me type of guy. And like he's very much just like touch her and you die. Like he is about business. Like there have been, I can't even tell you how many people have died in this book. And it's like, some of them are out of nowhere. I'm just like, whoa, okay. Like, I mean, didn't expect that. But again, it's keeping me on the edge of my toes because I just don't know what's going to happen at any moment. But Demon and Dream are hanging out. And she goes, I don't want to like spoil anything, so let me like get to the part that I was talking about. she kind of like gets an attitude with him. He like doesn't like when she gets an attitude. And you guys know I'm not the type where I like when men like kind of belittle women, where they like, you know, tell them to shut up. But there's something about this book. He could tell her like to shut up all he wants. I don't even care. It's kind of giving me like when I read Luca, which was my first like urban romance, and I was just like, I was here for it. I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, call it whatever you want. And just like, I enjoyed it. And I don't know, is this a guilty pleasure of mine? I feel like I've been getting more into like urban fiction. And I mean, she loves it. So she, you know, I'm like, if you like it, then I love it, because you're not trying to go anywhere. And you can tell that the way he talks to her is like still respectful. Like, I can't even explain it, but like, I feel like for their dynamic, but he goes, I guess now me saying like, it's kind of respectful, and then literally about to read this and it's like, I don't know, you guys can decide. He goes, I suggest you chill with that attitude-ish you got going on before I take you home and F it up out of you. So unless you want that little P word aching and the imprint of my headboard on your forehead, fix your pretty face. And he whispered that. And then she goes, Damien, said she gasped. And he said, Shorty was acting all proper, but I could tell her by her breathing picked up, and she was chewing on the bottom of her lip that she like liked it. And then he was like, pretty much, we're gonna need to like go home soon. And then she goes, you think I'm pretty? Like, that's what you got out of this? You think I'm pretty? Like, because he said fix your pretty face. Like, that's what you got of it. And then he goes, you already know your pretty dream. And then it said she looked at me shyly, but you never say stuff like that. And then he said, you need me to gas you up. Like every other dude, like, their banter is so cute. Like, it literally has me just like, I don't know. I love it. I love it. I don't care. I love it. And then he goes, heck yeah, you're beautiful and fine as F. With them titties and that A. So fine if you don't start working. Y'all, I'm blushing. So fine if you don't start walking to this dang place right now. Ain't gonna be no paint and sip tonight. It's just gonna be... I can't even say it. I'm literally blushing. I can't even say it. But it just... And then she goes, Damien! And it said she hissed, scandalized. And it said, then a sneaky smile curved her full lips. And then she said, why can't it be both? And that was the end of the chapter. And I'm on chapter 77. I don't know what it is. Y'all, I'm blushing. I'm giggling. I'm literally kicking my feet. And I'm having the time of my life with this book. I don't care. And again, this isn't like normally what I would even like. Like, you guys know I'm not huge on like spice and stuff. But I don't know, something about this book, it's different. I think it's because like a lot of dark romance or just books that are like heavy on the spice, it's like spice, nothing else. This has so much other stuff. Like Demon, his real name's Damien. He's been through so much. Like, he's like super, super rich, but he has kind of like, these like sectors of the city that are like his, and then her dad also does too. And I don't know if you guys know what this book is even about, so I don't want to spoil anything, but like something happens with her brother, and she, wow, literally me just having a brain freaking aneurysm, Dream, she ends up having to fix it, because she's like the fixer in her family. And to fix it, Demon's dad is like, yeah, you need to like pretty much let like him like do whatever he wants with you for 30 days. Like, he could have you at his house, he could have you at his job, like he can, whatever he wants, you're gonna be at his beck and call. And she's like, I have like never even been with anyone, like I'm not trying to like, you know, throw myself out there like that, but it was either like a life or death thing. It's like either you do this or like your family's gonna die. So it starts out super high stakes, and like there are a lot of people that die in this book, so like main people too. And so like you just never know what's gonna happen. But I feel like because there's so much wild stuff that happens, you get really invested in the actual characters versus just like looking for the spice. And like, again, there is definitely spice in it, like a lot, but it's a lot less, I think, than most like dark romances, because I feel like it's literally just like spice. Oh, I love you, spice. This is like spice, spice, someone dies, spice, spice, trauma, 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 trauma. There's some kind of war, spice, spice, spice. Like, you know, it's a good balance. I'm loving it. I'm literally loving it. I am so surprised, but I feel like I'm gonna rate this 4 stars. Like, this one is a really good one. I made a video on Instagram and TikTok showing all these books that are like by indie authors, but I want to like go through them really quickly on here because I feel like, I don't know, I just like having longer form like to talk about stuff. So obviously some of these books, oh my gosh, my counter literally being wet and I'm about to put books down. That would have been terrible. But obviously I showed you guys some of these books. Let me find us. Wow, it's not wet. Okay. I showed you some of these books already in the very last video. I had like a whole haul. So the books from that haul, and there are other books in there too if you guys want to go see those, but the books from that haul were Not About a Boy by Maya Hollis, and this is actually not by an indie author, it's traditionally published. I guess what I think of indie authors, I think any author that is like not hyped up, like that is like a new author, but just like for true technical terms, like indie authors are, I think, people who just like are, they're with the publisher. But this is her first book. She's never written one. So I think it's cool that it's her first book, and like Harper, what is it, Harper Teen, they picked up this book and like they don't even know if she's gonna be like an author that sells or not. So like I think that's so cool. So I wanted to include this in the little like video that I did on TikTok. But again, not indie author, but some people wanted to make it known that like she's not indie author, which is not, but it's like, you know what, it's my video, I can put whatever I want in it. I should have put like, I think the title was maybe confusing. I should have put like books by Black authors that aren't hyped up yet, or books by Black authors that are like underrated or something, instead of like books by Black authors that are like indie authors. Anyway, neither here nor there. This I showed in the last video. I also showed Roaming Holiday by Marina Hill. I showed Our Secret Moments by Janisha Boswell. Literally all these books have like less than 1,000 reviews on Goodreads. A Summer of Dandelions by Whitney Amazine. So all of those were in the haul, but I also have some books that are on my shelf that I haven't read. So these 3 are actually on my TBR for this month. The Plan by Janiyah Bennett. This looks super cute, and I love a freaking sports romance. Like, this just looks really good. So I want to read that this month. I also want to read A Love Like the Sun by Riss M. Nielsen. This is her first book, and I've heard such good things about this book. Like, I've heard that so many people are obsessed with it. And I love when an author, especially a Black author, like, they are given credit where credit's due. Like, she literally just came out with her first book and it's already doing so well. So yeah, this book. And then Love You Finally by Lauren Lacey is the second book in the Beverly Mills series. And I want to read that. I literally was obsessed with the first book in that series, rated 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then these 3 books, I don't think I've even shown you guys recently, but I did get them in a haul like a while back. Because of Us by Nina Arida, Heartbeat by Therese M. Clark, and All In by Z. Renee. These are also books that are not, that don't have like over 1,000 reviews on Goodreads. I think the only book that has over 1,000 reviews on Goodreads is this one right here. It's called Our Secret Moments, and this one I think has like 1,200. The rest of them have like 100, 400, 200, like very low ratings, which I think is so cool. I love finding books by Black authors that like are underrated or not hyped up. And I'm gonna link all these below because I always am sharing hauls in like a bunch of videos like here and there and wherever, but I feel like I would love to like make a video with like books, like a book haul with books that are underrated or have maybe like only a few reviews. And obviously it wouldn't be a book haul because they're already on my shelf, but let me know if you guys want a video like that because I have so many books that are like underrated. But usually when I do my Amazon book hauls, like I just have a bunch of books. So some are popular books, some aren't popular books, some are popular but they're not like, you know, like 100 reviews, you know what I mean? So let me know if you guys want a video like that, and I can pull all of the books off of my shelf and all the ones that are like super underrated, like less than 1,000 reviews, and really like dive deep into them and like show you guys like all the books that I think are, I just am like really excited about because I have tons. I mean, tons. I will say that I was so surprised whenever I looked up the reviews on Where We Found Our Heart and Where We Found Our Home by Natasha Bishop, and these have only like a little over 1,000 reviews. Like, and she wrote Only for the Week, and y'all know that that book is like one of my most recommended books for new readers, especially readers who are wanting to get into like Black authors writing. And these literally only have like a little over 1,000 reviews. So I will also link these below if you guys are wanting to read these. But I did read the third book in this series, and the third book was so good. It's called Where We Found Our Passion, and it's about a girl who, I don't know if I even told you guys about this because I read it forever ago, but it's about a girl who, she is like very driven, but she has a dad who is just like always on her about like being good at soccer, and she just is pushed so much in high school. Then she ends up meeting this guy who I think is her neighbor, I'm pretty sure, and they end up like falling for each other like at a very young age. So it's like a super cute friends to lovers story, but then something pulls them apart in the future. He ends up being like a physical therapist, and she ends up getting injured after she becomes like this world-renowned like soccer player, and he ends up having to help her because he is the best physical therapist like in the country. So I really love this book because there are so many deeper conversations outside of just the romance, but the romance is really sweet, and he is so like swoon worthy. Like he does everything for her. Like if you want like a cinnamon roll guy, like a super sweet soft romance, like Archer's Voice vibes type of guy, like where he's just like so nice, you will really love the main character in this one. I'm genuinely shook like right now reading this book. Like I'm shook. I just got to the part where Jordan is like doing the whole thing at the end, and I don't know, like if you've read the book you know what I'm talking about. Like I feel like this book should be made into a movie. Like, if it was made into a movie, it would freaking, like, just go, what is it, platinum? No, that's music. People would be obsessed with it. It's such a good book. I never know what's gonna happen. And this book literally has me, like, gasping. Like, my mouth is like, like, I have my little protein chips here, and I'm eating it like it's popcorn. Like, the way that I'm eating this is like, I just got to a part where Dream, she ends up slapping her dad. Yeah, I mean, honestly, he like deserves it. As bad as it sounds, he like literally does. He's actually the worst. But she slaps her dad, and her dad like hops up because he's like, you know, very powerful, like would never like let someone do that to him. And he steps up because he's like about to like do something back, and Demon, he goes, I wish the F you would. I'm like, that's all it takes. Like literally the dad's like backs up like, oh, like I just love how strong of a character Dream is. Like usually I feel like when you see male main characters that are like super strong, kind of like want to put you in your place type, like the girls usually kind of like meek and like measly, and you know what I mean? And like that gets annoying to me. Like I just genuinely do not like to like read stories like that. But I love reading about strong characters, but usually I feel like those don't mesh in these types of books. And Dream is such a strong character, and I just love that. I love that for her. I love that for Demon. I love this book so much. It's like, I feel like it's gotten better and better like every 30, 50, 100 chapters. This book has single-handedly made me realize that maybe I don't dislike books with like heavy spice, because this book had heavy spice, like heavy spice, but the story really like balanced it out so well. And I think because there were 750 pages, I really got to get to know the characters. So whenever I saw like the spice, or I saw all of the like wild scenes where they're like, you know, doing stuff that is totally outside my wheelhouse, I really enjoyed it. I do think that I really love urban fiction. Like, I feel like I before was kind of like, oh, like maybe it's not my thing. But like there's a distinct difference between dark romance and urban fiction or urban romances. And I made a video on Instagram and was like, these are books that you want to read if you like dark romance, because I feel like a lot of the popular dark romance like books, really, like if you like those, you will love urban fiction. But I feel like a lot of people don't dip their toe into it because like they don't know what's good, like not a lot of people are recommending it, like that sort of thing. I think the distinct difference for me, because everyone has their own opinion, but I feel like for me, the distinct difference between dark romance and like urban fiction and urban romance is a lot of dark romance books that I've read feel very like fantastical. Like they're a billionaire, they're a stalker, they're like, you know, you fall in love with a stalker, or you fall in love with this billionaire who like wants to like do bondage and stuff to you, but like they haven't even met you. Like a lot of the stories and plot lines seem like they kind of wouldn't happen, which I feel like to me is the reason why maybe some people enjoy that type of like storyline. For me, I don't really care for that as much, and I feel like a lot of the dark romance is centered on the spice, whereas I feel like the urban fiction books that I've read or urban romance books that I've read, it's not centered on the spice, but the spice is a large like part of the book. But the books that like even have heavy spice like this one, it's like there was so much more than that in this book. Like the ending of this book, I don't even know what to rate this, because I feel like I was for sure gonna rate this 4 stars initially, and now I'm like, I don't know, because the last like 200 pages of this book just had me on a freaking roller coaster. And the whole book honestly was like very fast paced. Like there wasn't any point where I wanted to put this down. And you guys will see on my Goodreads tomorrow, make sure you guys are following me there, I always link it below. You'll see on my Goodreads that it took me, I think like on my Goodreads it'll say like 2 months or something to read this. I hadn't even picked up the book for like 3 weeks, and I think I read like 2-3 pages and then I put it down. And anytime I start a book, I immediately put it on my Goodreads, even if I haven't like fully gotten into it yet. Well, I guess I won't say immediately, but for the most part, I try to put it on like pretty fast. And this book, I read like, I think a chapter, and then just got like so like stressed about how thick it is and didn't pick it up. And so then I asked on like Instagram and TikTok, I was like, hey, what are some tips for like reading thick books? And you guys were like, read it on your Kindle. I was like, oh, bet, like I love my Scribe. Like I will definitely read on my Kindle. And that's what got me to like really start reading. But it took me, I think, like I didn't even start really reading this book until like 2 weeks ago. Like, and it took me not even like that long to really get through it, because I mean obviously I just started getting into it 2 weeks ago, but I feel like I was reading 5 books, and when you're reading 5 books you just can't dedicate, like at least I couldn't like mentally dedicate all of my brain power to one thick book. So that's why I did the last video where I finished all the other 4 books that I was reading. Or no, I was reading 6 books, not even 5. Oh, I was reading 6 books, yeah, because I'm still reading Keeping 13. But I think I'm gonna finish Keeping 13 though before I start something else, just because I don't wanna end up in the same situation where it's like I'm reading this book, but like I'm not really reading it. It's just like sitting in my bedroom and I'm like literally never picking it up because it's so thick. I also think that I might read that one on my Kindle too, because again, I'm loving it. It's so good. Might even be my favorite, like in comparison to the first book, and I love the first book. But I feel like I really need to just like really get into it. And I think I'm like 60 pages in or something, and it's like 590 pages or something. But this book really made me want to dive deeper into urban romance, and I feel like it gets such like, I don't know, like when I first started sharing on Instagram, a lot of people, or Instagram and TikTok, like Books by Black Authors, a lot of people would be like, I want to read a book that's not struggle love, that's not like, you know, baby mama, baby daddy, like da da da. And like, I think books with this cover get that rep. Like you feel like it's going to be a like stereotypical trope. And this does definitely have some stereotypes in it, but I feel like those stereotypes can be true for some people. But also like all the characters in this book are stupid rich. Like all of them are stupid rich. No one is like having like baby mama, baby daddy drama. Like no one even has like kids. I don't even think, like now that I think about it. They're just like single, rich, living their lives. Their parents like own, well not own, but their parents have these like sectors of the city that they kind of like run, and they don't like cross over to each other's sectors. Otherwise they're gonna get offed. So it's not like, I feel like when you look at the cover, you feel like you know what it is, but like you really don't. And I definitely don't want to judge books by their covers anymore because, and I'm sure I still will because I really struggle with that. But this book, like I normally wouldn't pick up the cover unless so many of you guys had said like, hey, pick it up. Like this book has 4.7 like star rating on Goodreads, and it has 750 pages, and there are 8,000 reviews, and people love it. And so like that made me pick it up. And now I'm one of those people that's like, pick up this book. Now I will say, if you don't like a lot of spice, if you don't like, you know, people getting offed or like, you know, people pulling guns out of the table or like stuff like that, you probably won't like this book because that's like a really big part of it. But there's so much story in it, like outside of the spice and outside of like the more graphic scenes. There's things that they go through. There's dreams that they have. Dreams. Because their name's Dream. There's dreams that they have and goals and things that they want, but they feel like life isn't going to allow them to have it. Like they really show like every character inside and out, and you really fall in love with them. And I cannot wait to read more from Elle Kaysen. But also I have so many books on my shelf that I'm even like more excited to pick up because I just didn't expect this from this book. So if you guys like dark romance, read this book. If you like books that are kind of thrilling, maybe you're not someone who normally reads a ton of romance. If you like things that are pretty thrilling, read this book. If you like lots of spice, read this book. If you don't like lots of spice, but you like a medium amount of spice, you can still read this and enjoy it because there aren't chapters of spice. Like genuinely, like as I was reading this, I think I thought, because I mean there's like a naked man on the cover, I thought that it was going to be like heavy on the spice, like true erotica, you know what I mean? Like there's gonna be chapters and chapters. There's definitely like heavy parts of spice, but I would find that it would be like a page or two or a page or three and not like a whole chapter. And there's some books where it's like 6 pages, 10 pages, like 7 chapters full of straight spice, and this wasn't like that. So there were even scenes where they would have like blackout, where it would be like, I don't know if you guys probably know what I'm talking about, where you like know that they're about to do something, but then they don't show it like on page. There were even scenes like that. So it's not like the author like really dove into every single spicy scene, but they definitely have some spice. But I mean, this is just touch her and you die, like, and it actually happens. Like if you like characters like that, strong male characters, strong female characters, characters who struggle to learn to love, this is a good book. Like it's good. People like have been hyping this book up, and I didn't know if it was going to be for me, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely worth the hype. Again, is it a freaking masterpiece of like a literary experience? No. Like it's, you know what you're getting into when you get into it. Like it's not something that has like, you're gonna annotate it or anything like that, but it is incredibly enjoyable. It's a fast-paced read. Even though it was 750 pages, I didn't want to put it down. I had no idea what was gonna happen as I was reading, which is like so rare, I feel like, for romance books, especially since I like have read like 90 books this year, and I've read 170 last year. Year before that I read 100. Like I pretty much only read like thrillers and romance for the most part, and I read way more romance than thrillers. So sometimes like I get a little bored of the types of romance and I really need to switch it up, and this book did that for me. So I was not bored in the slightest. So if you kind of want to change the pace, like a romance that's going to be different than what you normally read, pick this one up. It was so good. I think the next video that's going to come is going to be, I can't even, okay, I think what it's gonna be is reading fantasy. I think. I haven't really been in a fantasy mood, but I started that vlog and I want to finish it. And one of you guys actually asked, you're like, is it coming? I'm like, it's coming, but I'm such a mood reader that I literally cannot pick up something that I don't want to read. So anytime I do a video that's like reading specific things, I'm genuinely like in the mood for that. I cannot make myself read something that I don't want to read at that moment. So I have been in the mood to pick up a fantasy, and we'll see if I can read 2. I don't know, because I was gonna read 3 in a week and literally read 1 and I was like, yeah, no, we gotta go back to the romances. But I'm gonna try to read 3 for that fantasy video, so we'll see how that ends up going. But I think that's gonna be the next video that you guys see on Thursday. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure that you guys like tag me on Instagram. I love seeing when you guys are watching like the vlogs and stuff. It makes me so happy. It just feels like we're hanging out, you know what I mean? And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.